In today's episode of the Deadly Dozen podcast, we're joined by Stephen Price, or Pricey, who is a fitness racer, ex-endurance sponsored athlete, and he's also part of the core team, so Deadly Dozen HQ. So I originally actually designed the website. So when I started Deadly Dozen, I pretty much did everything, designed the website. Obviously, Pricey seen that and thought, well, that can be improved. Got in touch with me, and the rest is history. Now he's part of the Deadly Dozen, works with our media team, and he will be racing soon, but I'll let him introduce himself. So thanks for being here, Pricey. Just tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Jay. Obviously accidental coming together for me and Deadly Dozen in terms of reaching out to you as an athlete and looking at the website and going, I'm pretty sure I can help you here. I'll reach out. And you were really receptive to my cold call, essentially, and obviously since then we've kind of improved the website, and we're ongoing and adjusting the brand as we go. And it's been a real thrill to be part of now part of the Deadly Dozen team and grow the brand with you. I said my fitness racing is almost accidental, and we can kind of talk about that a little bit more later. But I've found fitness racing, and it seems to be a really good fit for me. Mm-hmm. And I'm loving every moment and the community that I've come into contact with.
Yeah. So what was your, just point on that, I'm not normally very receptive to cold calls. So owning a gym and an academy for a long time. Anyway, and it wasn't a cold call, it's like a cold email, wasn't it?
Yep.
Usually they do get ignored. And now actually with the amount of customer service we have, it's just overwhelming, and the social media. But it was at a time where I knew, like, I'm at the limitation of what I can do with a website, what I can do graphic design, and it was just the perfect timing. And in all honesty, what it was the fact that you were signed up to a Deadly Dozen race, which was this year.
Yeah.
This was obviously last year, and you were a fitness racer. So I went straight on his Instagram, like, he is actually a fitness racer. It's not just, I thought at first, it's a really good ploy actually, that if, sign up to the event before sort of reaching out to be part of the team. But then I seen that he was signed up. I seen that he was a fitness racer, done a lot of high rocks with sponsored by Endurance. And I was like, no, I think this is the right guy. And like you say, we got to it, and now you're a really integral part of the media team. So tell me a little bit about your background when it comes to sport and fitness. You said you've accidentally fell into fitness racing, which I suppose is probably a lot of people. A lot of people have sort of seen high rocks, let's be honest. Or maybe they've done a little bit of CrossFit first, but high rocks for a lot of people that we meet, that was their real introduction to fitness racing. It just really felt right for them. A lot of them had tried CrossFit and maybe weren't quite into sort of some of the gymnastics or the barbell Olympic lifting. And when high rocks came about, like you mentioned about the high rocks PFT, people just went, that's a bit of me. And that was a lot. But tell us about your background before high rocks, before fitness racing. Were you a fitness guy?
I cycled a lot. So my first job was working for Cycle Mag. Someone popped up and said, fancy doing a mountain bike race? And I thought, yeah, I've got a mountain bike. I'll give it a crack. I got my ass kicked, snapped a chain, had to push my bike home. But the community and the people I met that day were enough to keep me interested. And it was part of my job. So I kind of learned I've got to get a bit fitter if I'm going to do this. Learned a bit more about bikes, got a bike that actually fitted me. And then I spent probably another 10 years honing my craft, being a mountain bike rider.
And that was because so what did you do at the magazine?
I was an art director, so designed pages and layouts. So very much publishing, art director, photography, designed the pages.
And that was a cycling magazine.
Cycling magazine, yeah. It was pretty low key and pretty much commuter based. So it wasn't as gnarly as the mountain biking I was doing, but it was my first job, and obviously gave me a hobby that I embraced full-heartedly.
And obviously you've got to a really good level as an age group athlete in high rocks, and obviously you'll be going into Deadly Dozen, which you're obviously going to be good at that side, albeit a bit different. And I think if you and our Kitman team up, I think you'll take the 50+ record. But when it came to, so obviously you're good when it comes to fitness racing. Were you like that with mountain bike? And are you a natural when it comes to fitness, to sport? Like, what level did you get to in the
I would describe myself as a diesel, so I don't have any sprint speed, but I can go for quite a long while. I don't really have the headspace to go for days and days and days and be an endurance athlete. I'm not like, no, but I ended up with, my mountain bike progressed to be, I found cyclocross, and cyclocross was like, that's my thing. And, that is an hour flat out kind of lactate threshold for an hour flat out, first past the post. You know who you're racing against. If you're first over the line, you have won that race.
Wow.
And that was 60 minutes flat out, bit of running, obviously cycling with a bit of technical ability. Loved that. And that was I found my niche. That was a perfect fit for what my physicality would allow me to do. I competed really well at regional level, got up to national level, and to be honest, I didn't quite cut it. And I was an average cyclist, did okay locally, and I was really happy with that. That fulfilled my competitive element. And I did that for 10, 12 years. I hung up my wheels when my son was born, because committing to 12, 18 hours of training a week when you've got a newborn
it's difficult.
Isn't going to happen. And I wasn't willing to compete without having done the training. I was too competitive. I couldn't just turn up at the weekend and go, I like riding my bike. I don't like riding my bike that much. I love the thrill of competition.
Oh wow! So what happened next then? You've done that. You've obviously you've had your kid. Hyrox has come about. What's the story there then?
So the story is, after I hung my wheels, I was literally cycling to and from the office, half an hour each day. That was enough. Played a bit of squash. I was okay, but again, I could run people off court. But by God, was I a poor squash player. Technically, I was really poor and never had the time to kind of learn it properly. But I could run points down, and I won a few games just by being on court longer than anyone else. Exactly. So I've got the engine, and that was pretty much it. Done a few park runs. That was my story. I've done nothing else. I've never lifted a barbell. Oh, wow. So when I moved to Gloucester, and we moved to Gloucester as my son got a place at Hartby College. Hartby College, people know about it, is a bit of a rugby hotbed. My son wanted a chance to play at a much higher level. He was state educated and never really had a chance to get into the academy system. And he asked us if he could go to Hartby College. Got him a place, did the trials, he got in, which was amazing. And then he was obviously offered the place, and we then had to think about accommodation. Now they have on-site accommodation. He could have taken a place there, but my wife suggested to me one day, purely by chance, said, why don't we go and follow him? Why don't we go and live in Gloucestershire?
Oh, wow.
And my wife was at the end of her time with a local charity, and I worked for myself as a brand and marketing website designer. And I thought, you know what? That sounds brilliant. So we literally put our house on the market, went to view a couple of properties, and we saw 3 properties in one weekend. The 3rd property we went, that's the one. We put an offer in. It was about 8 weeks later we completed the sale.
Wow.
And so we now live in Gloucestershire. So that gets me to Gloucestershire, and that also gives me my introduction to the local gym. So I'd done about 6 months of functional fitness back in East Grinstead, where I lived in Sussex. I popped over to Gloucestershire, and I thought, okay, I need to continue this. I quite like this. Don't know where it's going to go, but CrossFit seems to be the closest thing to that. So popped down to the local CrossFit gym. CrossFit Stonehouse was like on my doorstep. It was a 10-minute ride. As I shared cars, being able to cycle was pretty key for me. So I could cycle there, meet some people, and being new to the area, that was really key. So did a month of that. And I thought, oh my God, this is CrossFit, and oh my God, we've got rings and we've got handstands. And I'm like, this is not a piece of me. I mean, I would love, and I think this is like school curriculum should introduce these functional movements to kids when they can still do them, and take them forward into PE lessons and have PE lessons that are actually worthwhile. Giving them those core movements would be such a gift to give to children, because they can all do them, and they're all fun when they do them when they're 6 to 10 years old.
And the strength to weight ratio.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Calisthenics. When you're young, you've got far more ability to progress. You can as an adult. At any age, we can progress, but there's definitely a level. It's why gymnastics is one of the only early specialisation sports where they sort of encourage getting young. Most other sports like football, tennis, cricket, they actually suggest do multi-sport, do lots of different ones. You'll get different performance qualities, learn different movements, like tennis, more lateral movement, linear, multi-directional speed, all these different qualities from different sports. But when it comes to like body weight training, gymnastic type stuff, being very good with your body and being able to work under your own, body weight in a way that's quite impressive, the muscle ups and the dips and stuff like that, there is definitely an advantage to doing it young. There just is. There's no denying that. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I've seen that I often heard people say, oh, this is how I would have made CrossFit different. I'm like, I completely disagree. CrossFit is what it is because that's what it is. And yes, it can be constantly varied and include anything. But it does have them barbell Olympic lifts and gymnastic movements and a lot of complexity to it, which actually is the beauty of CrossFit, because it's a $4 billion brand, if not more. And the reason why some people love it is because it's so unique in some of them ways. Some of the properties it has are unique. I've heard someone say, oh, it should have just been, fundamentals like squat put, like what Deadly Dozen is. I'm like, but that's what Deadly is. CrossFit is what it is. And then unique components of it were why some people loved it so much and became so involved. But it's like similar to you and me is, actually, for me, it never vibed with me.
No.
But I grew up doing combat sports. I loved boxing. I loved Thai boxing. Whereas the grappling it just wasn't a bit of me. Just didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy wrestling on the floor and rolling around.
Yeah.
I wanted to just hit people, and it's just what you enjoy. So for you weren't quite into the CrossFit.
No, but I saw it as a challenge.
Yeah.
And I was happy to throw myself into classes, try and stand on my head, fall down, and try and lift a barbell. I'd never really touched a barbell. So learning how to lift properly was the fundamentals of going to a CrossFit class. And so I was there about 6 weeks, and they then announced they had a competition on the Friday night. It was called a PFT. Would anyone sign up? I thought, okay, well, I'm new. I don't know what this is about. I don't really know what the PFT is, but it's a chance to meet some more.
The Hyrox PFT.
Yeah, and it's a chance to meet some more of the gym members, because I train at 6 to 7 in the morning. I only see half the gym's community, so I might meet some of the others. I'm new to the area. I need to make some friends.
He's a social guy.
Yeah. So I turn up the PFT. I'm like, okay, it's a bit of a run, bit of a burpees, and
we've got it on the board. So it's a 1,000-meter run, so 1K run, 50 burpee broad jumps, but over your turn each time. I think it's a 90 centimeter distance. 100 bodyweight lunges, 1,000-meter row, so 1K row. 30 hand release push-ups and 100 wall balls with the 4 and the 6 and the open weight. So that's the Hyrox PFT.
So turns out I've racked through that, and I turn up to be the fastest at the gym. Well, I'm like, what is this?
And this is people that are beating you on like the WODs, like, if they do Fran or anything with a barbell.
Anything that involved proper lifting. This was all engine. And I've, had a reasonable engine. So I got through this because actually it didn't require any technical ability. It literally just needed heart and lungs, go, done. I mean, my rowing technique was terrible. My wall balls, they've improved a little bit, but they're still not great. But, the sum of the parts gave me a result that actually I walked away with a brand new pair of shoes and a load of protein powder.
Oh, you won a pair of shoes?
Yeah, and a load of new mates at the gym. So, that was a good start. And so PFT. That was my introduction to the world of Hyrox. As a result of the night, I'm obviously shrouded in emails from Hyrox saying, if you enjoy your PFT, enter a race. And obviously, 3 years ago, you could still enter races 6 months in advance. And I saw there was one in Olympia. I grew up in London. Olympia has a great attraction to me, and there were spaces. So I thought, well, what the hell? Let's give it a go. And that was 6 months of training. So in preparation to that, and I did the classic, what is Hyrox? Get on socials. I'm following every workout under the sun, trying to get my head around it. So I started doing CrossFit classes. I'm just doing WODs that are prescribed to me by social media and trying to find my way. So I end up training on my own because essentially CrossFit, although a great workout, didn't really work my engine in the way that would help.
Yeah, well, they're often shorter, aren't they? Very high intensity, a little bit more weight. And what people what we saw with the CrossFitters is that they started to do, longer and longer workouts and stuff like that. And obviously also concentrate on what became very popular is 50% of this style of fitness racing is running, right? You need to build an engine. People started to get educated around zone 2 or just, basically polarized training where they've got the intensity, but they've also got the low intensity. And the program started to build. So what have you done since though? Just a quick summary then of your Hyrox career.
Yeah, quick summary. So entered my first race May 2023. I placed third in my age group, 50 to 54. And as a result, which was bonkers, qualified for the World Championships, which was 3 weeks later in Manchester. So I rocked up eventually 3 weeks in Manchester and did the pro weights, which obviously were a bit of an eye-opener.
It's a step up, yeah.
And much conversation on social media, like, anyone else done this? What do you do? And like, suck it up, deal with it, see how you do. Yeah. And lo and behold, I came sixth in my age group, which was like, wow, okay. There must be something to this. A coach reached out to me. I reached out to a coach in the preparation to Manchester going, oh my God, I'm in this situation. What do I do? Gave me a 3-week program. I followed it. I figured that's got to be better than following Instagram reels. Done that. And I pretty much stayed loyal with him for the next couple of years. Just programming and progressing and learning as I go. And quite good at managing my effort and, mesocycles, microcycles, and the whole plan, because I haven't got a particular analytical brain, so I really needed someone to kind of plan out the plan for the next 6 months and beyond. So,
and sometimes even if you are the best programmer in the world, it's still better to have someone else do it because they're just more objective. You tend to lean into what you like doing, and sometimes someone can take an outside view. It's just a distance approach is often a more analytical approach. So it's often the way to go. And then obviously you were the most recent world champs. And how was that?
So a huge disappointment. I was unfortunately on the receiving end of sled-gate, which for anyone who wasn't aware, Hyrox introduced a new carpet at the World Championships. For the World Championships, they thought we'd change the kit. So they changed the carpet, and it seems like half of the sled lanes were super slow. And this wasn't just, there's a bit of atmospheric moisture, they've got a bit slow. This was absolutely impossible. To the point where some people resorted to picking up the sleds from the front of the sled and moving it down the line, rather than picking up from behind and pushing as you would expect to. My sled wouldn't move off the start line. It had somehow adhered to the white line. I spent 2 minutes trying to move it off the beginning. And I've pushed a heavy sled. I've pushed much heavier in training. This was like pushing, it was a 200 kilo sled. It was like pushing 350. And I spent 2 minutes trying to move it off the line. And obviously at that point, you've got veins popping out your head. Every muscle has gone through the roof. Lord knows what my heart rate was doing. But at that point, I was like, I just don't know what to do. I stuck it out. I eventually got it moving. I got it off the line, but at a very slow pace. I was watching athletes that had come in much further behind me. They disappeared into the ether. My race was shot to pieces. But I kept going. The race went from bad to worse. I managed to miss a lap. I then thought I'd do an extra lap to catch up. I don't know what I was thinking. And then I got a penalty somewhere along the line. Obviously, I knew the race had gone.
Everything had just
it had just gone to mess. And it wasn't really worth worrying in the microanalysis. It's just a huge disappointment. And then for obviously post-race, I'm seeing social media of sleds, on subsequent lanes being pushed very easily with the same weight on.
I've seen the video.
And you're like, how can this happen? How can this happen? I put my heart and soul into this and feel bitterly disappointed. So we're moving on to other things, and I'm glad to have Deadly Dozen to look forward to. So, change my training, become a bit more specific to Deadly Dozen, which is obviously going to be a lot more shoulder work. Embracing the challenge, really. I've still got a lot to learn about fitness racing, and I just keep asking questions, and we'll see how it goes. I've got your fortunately taken your 12-week triad plan, which follows a very similar format to how I was training before. So 6 sessions a week, which I'm quite happy with. And a load that I'm comfortable with. An hour and a half a day is where I'm roughly at. So it suits me to train that well. So that's not been a huge adjustment. Just learning to bear crawl now.
Exactly. That's the key. Is it's with the 12 labours, I think one of the things I'm happiest about the Deadly Dozen is you've got 12 labours, so there's so much to get your teeth stuck into. There's so much to think. Well, yes, we've got these core movements. You've got the squat, the lunge, the push press. You've got the snatch. You've got the clean and press. So you've got all these movements that you're like, right? How do I tackle these? And I like it in the gym because there is so much for me to get my teeth stuck into. And I go, right, I'm going to work my overhead strength. I'm going to work on getting better at crawl. You've got the burpee broad jumps like you've got in Hyrox and the farmer's carry, but then you've also got the overhead carry and the front carry. There's so much variety. One guy said to me, I call it the ADHD race because you're just onto something new all the time. And I really like that about it. And I'm really happy. And I think when people do the race, I like the way that there's so much to analyse. Because one thing I noticed with Hyrox is people would look at the results, and I realised it's what we often call professional amateurs. So amateur athletes or just normal folk, but they take a very professional approach to it. And you've got normal people that are looking at the results. You know, you'd see it from High Rocks and they'd be looking at all the split times and all the station times. And I thought, you know, that's what you want. The people that are looking at the results and going, right, what run am I getting slow? You know, what of the exercises are having the biggest impact? What's my heart rate? What's it? And they're really analytical. And I was like, we've got that, but it's 12 now. And you're looking at every different component and go, right, where's my heart rate spiking? What 400s? Where am I? Do I run faster? Do I go faster on that? So you're on the tribe edge. What I did when I published the training manual is I put 2 programs together. I put a beginner one together and one that I called the Triad program. And it's 6 sessions a week, and it's a mix of what the labour fitness, like the mixed modality circuits, has the running. It also has interval sessions, and then it also has strength in there as well. But let's go on to, obviously you've not got you're not a personal trainer or a coach.
No.
You've come from cycling, gone into fitness racing. So what is your ethos when it comes to training as a whole? Obviously you're on a program that I wrote, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And also what's your ethos when it comes to nutrition? So what's your overarching approach to training and diet?
So obviously I've really enjoyed my training journey. So it's not difficult for me to get up. I'm a morning person. I love having the routine. Getting my work-life balance is really important for me. But training fits well with that. You know, I can get the workout done while most of the house are not up, come back, crack on with the day. Nutrition-wise, I do most of the cooking. You know, I have the creative hat, which allows me to cook. My wife's the practical one, so she can do the DIY. We've got a very good division of labour. So it kind of works out really well there. And I coordinate all the food. So I've always ate really clean. So, you know, that's not a problem. You know, there's very rarely any,
So from that, it's like whole foods.
Yeah,
and just
good fresh vegetables, good meat, and just make the best of what we can. And you know, it's not difficult if you're prepared to cook. And meals needn't be complicated. You know, a couple of 3 ingredients and you've got a great meal. It's just being bothered. And that's I think, you know, been ingrained in me, and I'm happy to do that. I would have cooked for that for myself. It's not because I've got a family that I cook like that. I've always cooked like that and looked after myself that way.
Do you think the nutrition is a key sort of pillar of your performance? Do you think without the nutrition do you see that as, right, this is a real key to how I perform?
I think on days when you're traveling and you get your nutrition interrupted, then you really notice it. Your bodily functions are just not the same. Your sleep's interrupted, you know, mentally you don't feel as sharp. And that's, I don't have many days off from bad, you know, it's good nutrition all the time. Bad nutrition is very rare. But I really feel it when I do have a bad day, and you know, it's then like playing catch up. Like, you're right, I'm gonna have a super clean couple of days.
And do you concentrate on protein intake, or is it just well balanced diet, not over consuming, making sure you get enough carbs? What's your approach? It's just good food.
Just good food, really.
Not strict.
No, I mean, I'll have a protein supplement after I trained, and generally one in the afternoon. I've run obviously nutrition trackers for a couple of weeks. I've got a baseline and going, you're pretty much bang on. You could do with a bit more protein, and to be honest, one bottle in the afternoon is pretty much enough to kind of top me up. And you know, obviously keeping your nitrogen balanced throughout the day is a good thing. So 1 bottle in the morning, 1 bottle in the afternoon, and then 3 meals. I'm pretty sorted.
You're good to go, standard.
Yeah, exactly.
And going back to your training, what do you put the most emphasis on? Is it running? Is it circuit training, like as in simulation, high rock specific, deadly dozen specific stuff, or is it the strength training? What do you enjoy the most, and what do you put the most
I think it comes
value
back
on?
to
What's
that.
the most important?
I know all of it's important to have a fully rounded athlete. That's I don't think that's without debate. The strength, I'm playing catch up.
Yeah,
I'm learning. I'm not going to be that great, and I know how long strength takes to acquire. You know, like the aerobic fitness, I worked a lot on my fitness, my running speed, joining an athletics track, local athletics club over the summer, and spent quite a bit of time on the track. Run speeds were brilliant coming into the High Rocks world, so I was really confident for that. I'm happy to run and suffer. That's a no-brainer as long as it's not
like
too
the
long.
suffering. Yeah,
so 90 minutes is probably about my limit, but after that, I'll just kind of lose interest after that.
I'm not doing it. I've decided in my program I'm not doing any running. I'm not doing anything over 90 minutes.
Okay.
I think, basically I need more zone 2. I need more running development. But the longest I'm going to run is 90 minutes, and then just get faster at that. It's just I can't put the time into more than that. I want to train more. I love training, but I prefer the mixed modality stuff best.
I'm with you.
A little bit. I used to be into the strength training, but the mixed modality stuff's what I really like.
I could like mixed modality every day. The harder I have to work in the gym, I mean, to be honest, doing Deadly Dozen, I have to get a bit super organised setting that kit up because there's a lot of kit to sort out.
Yeah, lots of
It's like, 3 sets of dumbbells, a couple of weight plates. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to sort out.
It's one thing, when I was writing the manual and the programs, we were talking about this before, obviously, because I own this gym and I'm always doing circuits all the time, I think I underappreciated, I was like, when I'm writing all these mixed modality workouts, just involving different activities, well, we want a lot of variety. I've even got bag work in there, all sorts of stuff. I thought, I'm going to add a load of variety because it's just going to add spice. It's going to be, people are really going to enjoy the program. But I've worked for the past 10 years and 6 years before that, setting up circuits and doing it. So in my gym, I've got all the dumbbells, kettlebells surrounding us right now is just free weight equipment.
Yep.
So it's just second nature to me to throw this out. Now, obviously, we've got these programs now which have, they have long duration sort of running development. They have intervals. They have track sessions. They have hill rep. They have all these different modalities of training. What we call monostructural, constant cyclic cardio. And then it's got the strength training barbell, or you can actually choose kettlebell versions of the strength and dumbbell only and stuff like that. So I wanted it to be variants for everyone. And then the circuits, the mixed modality, what I often called the labour fitness, where you're working between 2 and sort of 4 minutes on stations, sometimes the supersets. There's a lot of variety, but I didn't really think about people going to the local Pure Gym and going, right, I've got to steal every kettlebell and every dumbbell, and everyone else is like, there's that
He's back out the door again. There is nothing worse than going to Pure Gym. You've loaded up your sled to 200 kilos. No one else is going to bother pushing that. You've nipped out for a 400 metre run, come back and someone's lifted all the weights off.
They took it all off.
What am I to do now?
That's the beauty of independent gyms, people. Yeah, it is one of them. I've got a lot of luxury here that we've literally got to put, we've got everything you need for a high rock sim, Deca sim essentially, other than tank, Deadly sim, probably every other fitness race, because they are just a mix of them, really.
Of course,
and we've got this open space here, and we've got all these running routes straight out of the gym, so we're incredibly lucky. So when it comes to your mindset in racing, then, so obviously you've done the races. It looks like coming from that sort of cycling background, you've got the mindset to suffer. What is your mindset when you're racing, when you're fitness racing?
I think High Rocks made it for me in that enjoying the moment and soaking up the atmosphere.
Okay.
It's addictive, and
even when you're at threshold, you're
to be honest, I think it's more in the arena. It's that kind of gladiator thing of just stepping into the arena and going, oh, come on, listen to that sound. And I know there's no one, I might have a family member or a couple of mates from the community cheering me on, but it's not about that crowd. It's how I feel walking into that arena, just going, and after a couple of races, I belong here. I can do this. I'm part of this community. I've met so many amazing people. And that feeling is one I don't want to give up. Obviously doing Deadly Dozen, I hope to extend that family and extend those people and bring those people into my world, because it's a great world.
And you definitely will. One thing, I love the term arena, and that's what you feel, especially at the tracks, because a track almost feels like the Colosseum, sort of. It's that circular. The track feels like an arena. And although we don't have the thousands and thousands of spectators, it almost feels more personal. Like everyone has said that, they always compare us to High Rocks and stuff. And they say that the main thing we hear is people say, it just feels more personal because you're there with a few hundred spectators, there's 500-600 competitors. And it's dead relaxed. We're never going to have the start line that you get from other events, because it's smaller, it's randomised, there's 6 to 12 people that are just there ready to go, and people are running around, they're all different points, it's just one loop of the track. The track's never that busy that you have to push people out the way, so you have all the space you need, but they say it just feels like, these are the terms we use, it's just grassroots, it's just community, it feels like the people's fitness race. And that, even though we're a global brand and we're growing rapidly, that's the feeling you get. And it's so personal. at every race.
And and the opportunity to judge as well. I'm really looking forward to that, because that kind of will really enhance my day.
Yeah.
And as you say, you get personal with the people that you're judging and the community around you, and that's going to be great. And as I said, my son's coming to judge as well, and I think just growing the brand is it's great. I can't wait. So 2 weeks to go, and bring it on.
And we'll be there. So when this sort of goes into then sort of work and lifestyle and what the plans are. So obviously you're part of the Deadly Dozen team, the HQ team now. So what's your ethos when it comes to work? What's your sort of plans, obviously, with us, and what do you hope for the future?
I really enjoy my design and brand work, and balancing that with my fitness interest and my family is really important. They're the three components, and making sure I've got time for all of those is what centers me and makes my world. So I'm pretty uncomplicated. If I can get that work-life balance, I'm happy. And the people around me are happy, and that makes for a happy life.
Absolutely.
So,
And that's the key, and help us build the Deadly Dozen into a global brand, expand our media team. Obviously, we've got Simon and yourself, pricing, and just keep expanding, keep growing the team. We've obviously got dozens of directors worldwide that are bringing on essentially their own media teams, but HQ will be the ones that will be
steering the ship.
What's going to happen is we're essentially going to have, at a race we get how many images at a race?
6,000.
Thousands of images at a standard track race. We're going to have hundreds of track races a year from all over the world, where we're getting, we're going to have tens of thousands of photographs coming through to us, videos, reels. We've got going to be essentially thousands of gym races where they're going to have, photographers, videographers and stuff like that. So the media that Deadly Dozen is going to be putting out is huge. And obviously what we're all trying to do right now is create that brand, really strong, because it all started with me essentially saying I want it to be a skull called Maury, and it's the chiller font. And straight away I got a lot of comments saying, look, they love the skull and they love the sort of branding, but then the overarching brand on the Instagram wasn't as strong. It was amateur because I was doing it. I've not got the skill that you guys have. So what we're really working on now, aren't we, is developing that brand kit. So the big brands around the world, the big sponsors are going to look at us and go, this is the brand we want to work with. This is a global fitness race that's taken the world by storm. And I always said to people, although we feel like that grassroots community, urban race, it's a bit of a gritty race. It's a little bit like the second child, out in the garden eating mud. I always say we're the wild child, right? I want the media to be world class.
Yes.
I want people to look at the brand and go, that is a good brand. Their media is world class, even though they are that community driven race. And obviously you guys are going to help me with that. So leading on to the end of the podcast, we have what we call 3, 2, 1, go. 3 words or phrases that define your ethos, 2 habits you swear by, and 1 final piece of advice for the listener. And I'll just say as well that these don't have to be fitness related. They can relate to anything you like. So we'll start with 3 words or phrases that define your ethos.
Energy. I bring that wherever I go, whether it be work, life, training. Determination. I think that's got where I've managed to achieve. I think purely down to that. And focus. I think I'm quite good at compartmentalising and being organised, so I think that focus has allowed me to do that.
Yeah, I can see. I think especially as part of our media team and helping me, like I am very much, I'm quite head in the clouds type guy, which I think is very important for the role I'm in with Deadly Dozen, which is very much like, I've got all these ideas. And then it's key to have, it's like, and I think it's key to have me sort of, not necessarily dream, but head, thinking ahead, thinking all these big ideas.
Inspiring is what you do.
And then I always know that when it comes to, if I've got something that I need, say, you to do, and I say, right, I'm thinking this or this for the website or this idea, it's about you guys. And I can always tell that you've got the focus, right? I'll get that. We were saying it, weren't we, Simon, the other day? If you ask Pricey to do something, it gets done. It's not like I go, I need this doing, and then I have to chase them. Oh, by the way, is this? It gets done. It very, very focused. And it's key for me with you guys and with Simon that when I go, right, this is my idea with affiliates, or this is what the vision is, and this is what I'm trying to achieve. You guys are telling that story. with the design, with the videography, with the photography. So I have that idea, you tell the vision. You know, because obviously when I was doing it, I was trying to say, this is what Deadly Dozen is. It's like, right, you tell the story. So yeah, I especially that last one with the focus, it's key to have individuals that do that. Next one is 2 habits you swear by.
Routine and planning.
Routine and plan. So they pretty much interrelate.
They do interrelate. The routine to get that work-life balance, I have to have. And planning, I like to know. Obviously, I don't have that analytical brain, so I need to plan ahead. So I need to know what I'm doing to the gym. So your program, brilliant. That's all laid out, brilliant. I know every bit of kit I need to get out, which is a lot.
It's part of training.
But yeah, exactly. And just being organised. Because obviously I have my role, you are my key client, but I have other clients to organise as well. So just making sure I give a level of service that justifies people spending money with me. So making sure that, it's a 5-star service is really key to me. And that's, and not take criticism too personally. But I think that's a good ethos for me to have. Consistency is key.
Yeah, because especially when you say about criticism, it is key, because obviously when someone has a vision, I don't think I'm particularly hard work as it comes to, no, not right, but it's people have their vision of what they want and they become very particular, isn't it? Yep. So as a designer and as something, you've
got to take a few body blows along the way.
Sometimes people are going to,
But you've got to accept that you don't get it right all the time. And that's part of the process. And being creative, that's the deal. That's what you've signed up for. So it's not going to be right every time.
Yeah.
But the closer you get to a brand, the quicker those decisions are made. And I think that's where we're at a great point now, but we're ever evolving. If we look back from where we've come from in just 3 months with Simon's appointment, we've come so far.
It's elevated tenfold, hasn't it? And we've seen that. The response that we've got, I had several messages, a lot of messages that were like, your brand's really improved in the last few months. I'm like, all right, yeah. It's like more my stuff was no good, but it was like everyone, a lot of people commenting like the brand it's elevated, it's massively elevated, and I really do respect, like, one thing that you've said from the start is always like that work-life balance, and that's key for me as well, because I'm married, I've got 3 kids, they're all young children, and I've been in this gym like 85-hour weeks and really thrown myself into Deadly Dozen. I work a lot in the evenings, but the backbone of what I do is you've constantly got to think, especially when your kids are young, you've got to think, right. Very much. They always say, what's the phrase? They say, the phrase is, I think, the only people that really remember how much you work is your kids. And that can be a very negative thing, No one else is going to go, oh, look at Jay and how much he works. He's such a hard worker. The only people that it really impacts are your kids. Yeah. Now, I will caveat that with saying that sometimes I think society can be quite harsh on fathers that say, oh, an absent father. And obviously, fathers can be absent, but often a lot of time, and I know both parents in this circumstance, especially in this generation, both parents work. But often people are quite harsh on fathers not being as involved when actually there's so much pressure on them to provide. And I know that's more equal across both parents these days. Yep. But sometimes it's like my wife works part-time. Yep. She is the primary carer of the children in our circumstance. I work a lot. And therefore you wouldn't be, even though I'm fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with my children, there is an element where, your kids might say, well, mum was around a lot and maybe dad wasn't as around as much, but it's like, but he was there providing, and it's a huge responsibility to have that. Actually, a lot of men, it's a huge thing to have.
I think, that is a societal pressure of men being the breadwinner. Whether it's in a shared relationship shop, they are brought up to believe that they should be bringing home.
That you don't have value unless you do provide value, men don't have inherent value without providing value almost. And I think sometimes that's something to caveat that saying. But what I would like to do then is one final piece of advice for the listener.
Okay. I've taken this from another sports psychologist. Not that I'm a sports psychologist, so I can't refer to myself as. But if it gets tough, smile your way through it. Yeah. That's certainly my mantra for High Rocks and fitness racing. If I can smile, it's suddenly that much better. I'll write it on my hands just to remind myself when it gets tough. I will smile my way through it, and
not metaphorically, like physically smile.
I need to physically do it. I can't inwardly smile. It's got to be an outward. oh my God, I'm suffering, but I'm going to smile my way through this.
It does have physiological impacts.
I think so.
There's studies on that. If you just smile, you actually feel happier, even if you feel sad.
Yeah.
Because when you activate the muscles that smile, it has an impact.
Yeah, I know. I feel that, and the tough times bring it on in, and it gets me through.
Yeah, nice one. I like that. So anyway, like I say, I really appreciate you coming on, Pricey. Yourself and the media team have elevated the Deadly Dozen brand, exponentially in the last few months, and I can't thank you guys enough. It's what's key for us to growing as a brand. We had very early success. There was a demand for the fitness race, but for us to grow to a real global entity that can play with the big boys, essentially, we need a strong brand and strong media. It's absolutely key. So thank you.
Jason, thanks for having me, mate.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you.